Welcome back to the GSMC Hockey Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Garrison McDaniel, and we are into our fifth and final segment of the night, talking about the Chicago Blackhawks season preview we just did for the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's look at the Chicago Blackhawks now. I keep on saying Chicago, and I can't stand that I'm doing this. I've lived in Chicago for, it's not me doing it on purpose. I've lived here for the last 3 months, and I've suddenly gotten an accent from here. I don't know how that happened. Anyways, Chicago lost a good amount of players when free agency first hit. They lost Nikita Zaitsev, Tyler Johnson, Taylor Radish, Mike Hardman, and Sam Lafferty, who they were gonna lose. But they did add some good pieces, right? They added Ilya Mikheyev, who I think is still on the team in that trade for the cap dump that the Canucks made to make some re-signing. They added Craig Smith. They added Alec Martinez. They added Tyler Bertuzzi. They added Pat Maroon, TJ Brody, Teuvo Teravainen. Like, they were really busy this offseason. Really busy this offseason. And then they also signed Artem Levshinov to a 3-year entry-level contract. Artem Levshinov right now is not expected to be in Chicago next season. I'm going to get annoyed every time I say it. Is not expected to be in Chicago next season. He is expected to go back to Michigan State for another year in East Lansing. But their defensive core is not that bad without him. When you look at this forward core, now I will say all of this, it's still a little bit stinky. This team is still not that great. You have Tyler Bertuzzi, Connor Bedard, Teuvo Teravainen is supposed to be that first line. That first line is pretty good. Last year it was Taylor Hall, Bedard, and Nick Foligno or Tyler Johnson were there. Sometimes it was Foligno, Bedard, Johnson, Hall, Bedard. They mix it up a lot last season. But Bedard played on the first line, right? He is a first line center. He's just supposed to be up there, and he did a lot last year. He is a fantastic player, and probably the second best player in all of the NHL right now to build a team around. And that's what the Blackhawks are trying to do. So Tyler Bertuzzi, Teuvo Teravainen. Teuvo Teravainen is a huge addition for this team. I wasn't too impressed with the Tyler Bertuzzi signing, especially if he is going to play with Bedard. But when it comes to Teuvo Teravainen, however, that is a fantastic player to play with Connor Bedard. This guy can score, and he understands how to be a supplementary player to a superstar. He did it with Sebastian Aho for many years in Carolina, and now he's looking to do it in Chicago. Second line is Taylor Hall, Andreas Athanasiou, and Philip Kurashev. That's not great. Taylor Hall, coming off of a major injury, had signs of regression, but even before the injury, is he going to be the same player that he was? Probably not. Andreas Athanasiou, is he a second-line center right now? Probably not. Philip Kurashev, probably not a second-line right winger either. This team is not, like I said, this team's not good. It is a little bit stinky. Nick Foligno, Jason Dickinson, and Ilya Mikheyev is looking to be their third line right now. That's a pretty solid, just hard third line. Good penalty killers on that third line. Not going to score too many goals. Hopefully, Connor Bedard can put up 200 goals this season for the Blackhawks to get them into playoff contention. Of course, that is a hyperbole, and he is never going to be able to reach that mark. But, what I'm saying is he needs to have an out-of-body experience this season to even be able to have this Blackhawks team in contention, because it's not good. Lucas Reichel, Ryan Donato, and Craig Smith make up their fourth line. Craig Smith, a good PK guy for that fourth line, but other than that, Ryan Donato does not move me much at all. Lucas Reichel doesn't move me much at all. And then our defensive core: Alex Vlasic, Seth Jones. Alex Vlasic isn't that good. Seth Jones has regressed a lot since his playing days in Columbus. That would definitely concern me if I were them. Kevin Korchinski, Connor Murphy. Now that's a pairing. That can look pretty good depending on their day, right? Kevin Korchinski has the mistake in him, has that very costly turnover. But when that pairing is on, especially an offensive defenseman with Connor that Connor Murphy is pairing up with Kevin Korchinski, that can look pretty good. And then their bottom pairing defensemen, it's Alec Martinez and TJ Brody. Now, in a few years, right, when this defensive core is set to where they want it to be, something like Kevin Korchinski, Artem Levshinov, Connor Murphy, it's not that great, right? But it has a future, and you don't need, as long as they could get supplementary pieces around those guys, it could look very good, because we know what the ceiling of Artem Levshinov and Kevin Korchinski can be, very, very high. So they only have 6 roster defensemen to contract. Looking into their system, it doesn't look too impressive either when it comes to the defensemen, besides Artem Levshinov, and Isaac Phillips, Lewis Craver, Nolan Allen, Ethan Del Mastro. It's not that great. And then their forward prospect core isn't that great either. A lot of their prospects just play for their team, like Philip Krashev, who's 24 years old, Connor Bedard, who is still only 18 years old. Still insane. This kid is so young and so good. Frank Nazar might play for their team next season. Landon Slager is probably going to be in there. Going back to Landon Slager played for Notre Dame last season. The only reason I know that is because, of course, I was the Ohio State men's ice hockey beat writer, and they did play Notre Dame in Columbus. I think that was actually the first game I wrote. But anyways, I'm on a tangent. Going back to this team. It's not great, right? This Blackhawks team doesn't look good. It's going to be another year of rebuild in Chicago. I said it again. I'm just going to call them the Blackhawks. I keep on distracting myself with that. Anyways, the Blackhawks, it's going to be another year of rebuilding. They're going to be a bottom 5 team in the NHL next season, unless Bedard just has an out-of-body experience where he's just the best player in the NHL next season. It's going to look pretty bad for the Blackhawks. So I have them around 70 points next season, bottom of the Central. The Central is very, very competitive, with the Dallas Stars being as good as they are, with the Colorado Avalanche being as good as they are. Looking down the board, the Stars, the Jets are going to be good. The Avalanche, the Predators, of course, are going to be extremely good with what they got this offseason. The Blues aren't going to go anywhere. The Wild are going to be pretty good. And then the Utah Hockey Club is probably going to be in the mix as well with their blue line addition. So, it just leaves the Blackhawks to being a bad team again next season. I think around 65, 70 points is where I put them at. They're going to be around 7-8 worst team in the NHL. They're not going to be a top 3 pick next season, I don't think, but they definitely aren't going to be that impressive. I'm very intrigued to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. If the Blackhawks or the Hurricanes, or if the Blackhawks is going to be competitive, or the Hurricanes are going to be a for sure playoff team. Prove me wrong. I would love to hear it. But that'll wrap it up for this Friday edition of the GSMC Hockey Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Thank you all for your support and comments. I do enjoy when I get to talk with you guys, have a conversation with you guys. So if you guys did enjoy this edition of the GSMC Hockey Podcast, make sure that you like and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you rate us on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to this on, whether that's Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Thank you all once again for tuning in, and have a fantastic and wonderful evening.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn ain't